everybody, welcome back to Awesome Sunday Show. Connor here.
And Pat.
So Pat, guess what we just got done watching?
The Flash Season 3 premiere.
Oh, I thought you were watching Big Bang Theory and I was watching Flash.
No, because that's your favorite show.
Nah, I hate that show. But yeah, Flash Season 3 premiere. We literally just got done watching it, and it's pretty damn good.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. It was I think it was better than the Season 2 premiere.
Yes. I will 100% agree with that.
And not saying the Season 2 premiere was bad, but
It's just this one was really good. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about. So, if you haven't watched it yet, hold off on this because we're spoiling everything in this episode.
yeah.
So come back after you watch the episode. Also, after you do watch the episode, let us know what you think. But this is your last chance to avoid the spoilers. So stop it now. And here we go. So,
Now.
wait.
As of like right now
Now or now?
or
Or
5
right
seconds
now.
from now or actual now.
Okay, let's go now.
Okay, all right, let's go now.
Like, excellent premiere.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was aptly titled Flashpoint. And, didn't get, we just previously did an episode of what you need to know about Flashpoint and Kid Flash. I hope you did listen to those. If not, we don't love you.
No, we do. We love you for listening to this
Just
episode.
a little bit less. You're like the redheaded stepchild.
But if you go back and listen, we'll love you more.
Exactly.
And you'll get more for Christmas from Santa
Exactly. You won't get a lump of coal. You might get half a lump of coal.
with a Transformer. But like actually,
Transformers Age of Extinction Blu-ray.
yeah.
Nobody wants that.
We should make a GoBots movie.
It'd be better than the Transformers
Yeah.
movies are. Anyway, there was a lot of parallels actually to the actual Flashpoint story. Some scenes that we did talk about without really replicating it too much, which we figured it wouldn't happen.
It was barely like Flashpoint.
Yeah, there were some things that were similar, but overall it was...
Well, the whole...
I mean, the concept
Yeah.
of Flashpoint, but, world-changing effects, no...
There was no Thomas Wayne Batman.
World-ending effects, or After Effects, no. There was
Yeah.
no Thomas Wayne Batman, but there was a Thomas Wayne Batman moment, actually.
There was, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So, the episode started off with a quick little recap of the season finale last year. When Barry's like, hey, you know what, timeline, fuck you. It's like, I was going to make an analogy, but it was very inappropriate. I don't want to say it.
All right, good. Tell me later, though, after
I will.
the recording.
So Barry fucked the timeline, like the government fucks us over with student loans. Or,
Yeah.
with anything, really. That's not the analogy I was going to make, but...
And
just
if you
something
live
that
in New
came into
Jersey,
it.
outrageous property tax.
Yeah.
Sorry, just got political for a second.
It's all right. So serious ramifications. Although it starts off pretty nice for Barry. We find out that from the events of the season finale, season 2, to where season 3 picks up, it's 3 months.
Only that?
Yep. Best 3 months of Barry's, or best 3 months he's had in a long time, Barry says. Probably ever.
Yeah.
Definitely before his parents were killed. I'm sure he might have had a good stretch of 3 months, but since his parents or mom was killed, at least, great 3 months. And it starts off with him sitting at Central City Jitters, which is basically like their central perks from Friends
Right.
of the Flash. Like, that's their thing. And he's sitting there and he's doing something, that probably like stalkers do, waiting for a girl to show up because he's been stalking her. And that girl is Iris.
Iris.
His one true love.
Iris who?
Iris-
East? North?
No.
South?
No, this isn't Kanye West kid. It's not
Oh.
Northwest. No, Iris West, the future Miss Iris West Allen. But, because in this timeline, their friendship never extended past elementary school at this point. Because, timeline.
Joe never
Just-
raised her. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe never raised
Or
Barry.
raised him, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So he's, trying to talk to her again because his feelings carried over. All Barry's emotions, feelings, and memories from the original timeline have carried over to this one. Nobody else is aware other than the Reverse Flash, who Barry keeps locked in a speed dampening cell like Zoom kept Barry and Jay Garrick in, which I like. That was a nice little thing that Barry picked up from him. Dampens his speed so he can't phase through it.
And it was kind of cool, like seeing the roles reversed a little bit as far as from season 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
See what you did there.
Pun not intended, but I'm glad I said it.
But it works.
Yeah. Essentially, like Barry has Reverse Flash locked up, whereas usually it's like the other way around, or Barry is like selfishly fulfilling his happiness at the expense of the villain. But I mean, you don't feel bad for Reverse Flash at all. But at the same time, it's kind of unsettling to see Barry like
he's literally holding somebody hostage.
Yeah, exactly. He is holding someone hostage.
And he usually saves people from being held hostage, including himself at one point. But yeah, you're right. It is a little unsettling. But speaking of the hostage he's holding, Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, I'm very glad that Matt Letcher, the actor who was playing him, is back. I really enjoyed him last season when we got to actually, see him as the Reverse Flash. He had his own time to shine in the role. Because he took it over from Tom Cavanaugh, technically. But I'm glad that we saw him, and I think we're going to see him a few more times during The Flash, but I know he's going to be on Legends tomorrow too, which is good because I really like the way he plays Eobard Thawne.
Yeah, I actually am kind of starting to enjoy his performance a little more. Not more than Tom Cavanaugh, but more than previously. Like I was like, oh, okay, that's what he really looks like, But so far from what I've seen, like he's actually like more like Reverse Flash from the comics and various other mediums that he's portrayed in, and. Tom Cavanaugh was pretending to be Dr. Harrison Wells while actually being Eobard Thawne. So it's nice to see an actual Eobard Thawne in the flesh as Reverse Flash.
I agree, 100%. Because he's a great character, excellent villain, and Matt Letcher does it very well. Like I said, So Barry's stalking Iris, trying to get the courage to talk to her. Doesn't right away. In fact, he gets sidetracked when he notices that actually he's just the Flash at this point of the timeline fighting the rival. And turns out we know him as Kid Flash, but Wally West, and his suit looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We saw the promo pictures for it, but on screen like that, it looks really, really good.
Yeah,
I really like it.
I like it a lot too. I think I like it a little more than Barry's costume, but I think that's mainly because it's very new. His costume, and it's it's not New 52-ish. Well, him being African American is very inspired by New 52.
Yeah,
but the costume is very old school.
Right.
And I think it marries both together very well.
I agree. I think you're right.
Because I'm not a fan of the silver red from.
It was okay. I do prefer the way it is now.
Yeah, I do.
Color he has.
It's kind of like the silver red Iron Man suit from like the 80s or whatever.
Right.
Not a huge fan of that Iron Man suit, but I get the New 52 Kid Flash Wally West's costume. It's not terrible, but I don't know. I prefer the old, and it looks great. It looks really, really good.
It does. I'm very happy with how it turned out.
But what's the antithesis?
The rival.
Yeah.
And you know what? His mask, you said it before, and I agree. The rival's mask does look stupid.
It looks bad.
But the neck down, I like the design of the rest of the costume.
Yeah. I kind of wish he just wore like a little visor thing over his face or something.
Yeah, or got rid of those ears, like bat-looking ears, or whatever the hell they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I think, what I think it was, like, design-wise, I think, all right, I don't want to get into it now, but a certain event that happens very, like, at the end that we said is reminiscent to Flashpoint, I think they were trying to put more like of that scene in there without actually it being that specific person. You get what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Because he has his costume is red and black, and he's got like
Let's
weird
orange.
Yeah,
Whatever. Yeah, you're right.
but
yeah,
like,
go
and
on.
it's very reminiscent of Batman. Like I thought that looked like Batman more than the Flash.
That's not a bit. Yeah, actually, I see it.
Yeah,
I see it. It's kind of like a combination of Batman and then the Reverse Flash. I think because if we're talking about the Flashpoint animated movie and even in the comics, the Reverse Flash does have the extended lightning bolts coming off like his cowl. Normally, like they're like Barry's, except they go out a little more, so they're more like a little bit hanging off.
yeah.
Like how the wings on Jake Garrett's hat kind of look, and then melded with some Batman look. I see that a little bit actually, but I like the really fractured black suit with the orange, like almost like bleeding through it. Kind of looks like lava breaking through ground. You know?
Oh yeah, that looks badass.
I think that looks great. But we get a little glimpse of his battle with the rival, and then Barry, does his best and try to save him. Well, witnesses it. Rival actually pulled something out of Zoom's book with the speed lightning.
Yeah,
I did not expect him to use that. Not that it's like a huge twist or anything. I just was surprised, because so far we've only seen Zoom and Barry do it. Like even the Reverse Flash doesn't do that.
yeah. Well,
Up to this point, at least.
we also didn't really get a glimpse of how powerful the rival was. Obviously, Barry is more powerful than the rival, but I mean, the rival could have been more powerful than Barry at the point when he first became the Flash.
True.
So he could have
we
been
don't-
like somewhere in the middle.
We don't exactly know how long the rival has been. The rival has had his powers.
Yeah, they only explain
How
Wally's
Wally
powers.
got his powers.
Yeah,
Which they kept his love of racing from when they introduced him last season, and then they combined it with a lightning strike, which is how Barry got his powers. And then in the comics, that's how Kid Flash got his powers as well. Like he was also struck by lightning.
Yeah.
And there were chemicals involved, just different chemicals than what he used.
and like
But they just wanted to keep his love of speed and drag racing and stuff together.
right, and like we explained in the last episode, the last episode that we talked about the Flash, about how it was in Barry's lab. It was another freak accident or whatever. I kind of like the way they explained it in this one because I like Wally's character in season 2 and like where he came from. I'm happy to see more of him in this season. And
I agree.
I think it was a neat twist to kind of merge their origins together like that.
No, you're right. It was good. And so I think at this point, he's been Flash for about, what do you say, like a year it seemed like? Because he first got his powers and then he was in a coma for 9 months, just like Barry was in season 1. Nice little nod there. Oh, speaking of nods, the when they showed Kid Flash and the rival fighting on the news channel 52.
Yep.
Very nice nod to the new 52 event.
Yeah, which they did
run.
last season too with the 52 worlds.
breaches. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like New 52 gets a bad rap with a lot of stuff. But this is about the Flash. We already talked about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a nice little thing. It was a nice little nod. I'm gonna guess because all right, he's had powers for at least a year. We know that much. I don't think they actually said how long he had been fighting as the Flash, because it's only been 3 months since that timeline has started for Barry. So he could have been active prior to that or recently. Don't really know.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's not that important. But he has some help, just like Barry did.
Yeah. But from an actual other speedster.
Oh no, I was talking about as a crime fighter.
Oh yeah. Never mind. I'm sorry. I was. Yeah. No.
No, you're right. His lovely sister Iris West,
Yep.
brother sister crime fighting duo.
That's where I should have saw you going.
Yeah,
And they also keep the secret from from their father
Yes.
because he's
Which-
kind of a drunk.
Kind of. When they showed a scene. Oh yeah, can we talk about how different Joe is?
Yeah, I hated him.
I did hate him
in this episode. I was like, "You're a dick."
Wasn't showing up to work. Was a big dick. A drunk. When they showed him in his house or apartment, whatever the hell he was in, You just see whiskey bottles all over. He's sleeping in his fucking suit and stuff, and just a dick to Barry. And then later on was a dick to him again when Iris showed up after Barry asked her out on a date. It's like, no, fuck that. I don't approve of that shit.
I do not approve.
I don't approve of this white boy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Come on, man.
They do keep it from
2016.
Joe, which is funny because when Barry got his powers, Joe wanted to keep it from Iris. So it's a nice little turnaround there. Flipped it on its side. But it is just Wally and Iris. Because a certain person who I was actually very excited to see him come into this as he is, Cisco wanted nothing to do with it.
Yep.
He gave him a suit and goes, that's all. I don't want
And that's the
anything to do
total
with it."
opposite of Cisco from
is.
the timeline we're used to, where he's just like, I think of names, I do everything.
He was stoked to
Yeah.
do this. It's because he's a multi-billionaire. He's the richest man in America, and he's a huge douche.
Yeah, didn't they explain it because he invented like some tech apps or something like that?
He invented a lot of tech apps and sold them, and then he bought out Star Labs. So now Star Labs is Cisco's base as Ramon Industries.
See, that's pretty funny.
But Cisco in the regular timeline probably could become a billionaire because of all the shit he creates anyway. But I did like douchebag Cisco.
Yeah, it was.
I thought he
awesome.
was funny.
That's what, and I like that they do that with Cisco's character throughout the series. Is like you see different versions of him. Like you see where he's the villain in season 2 on Earth 2, and he's just like a dick then too. It just seems like the only nice Cisco is the Cisco in
The normal Cisco of the original
normal
timeline or the standard timeline of Earth 1. Yeah. Yeah. It was good to see, a little difference played in there. And then Barry should have realized this right away, I'm pretty sure, given that he is a costume hero himself.
Mm-hmm.
And Wally's really doesn't cover a whole lot of his face. But the second time, when Barry and Iris are walking on their date to go, and then to see cops running out, Barry's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, Flash and Rival are fighting at whatever building. And then Iris, in a change of pace for, from a superhero, is Barry's the one who gets ditched. Oh, I got to go. This was, whatever, rain check. And then Barry goes and he's just standing there in the middle of the action. Like, yeah, I know Barry has powers, but he still shouldn't be there in the middle of the action.
Yeah.
He's just like, wow, this is great. And he sees Wally, doesn't recognize him, and then Wally gets knocked off a building by the Rival. Barry does his little tornado arms. Wasn't able to get him a safe landing, but helped him a little bit for Wally to land in the dumpster, removed his mask. He's like, oh, wow, Wally, no way. Although he was very happy about it. Yeah, I'm sure it was cool. It'd be like, that's something I'd be like, when I get to the regular time, I'd be like, yo, you know what? You got powers in this one?
Yeah.
You did in the other one.
I don't know if I would tell anybody that just because it's like, oh, wow, cool. I had powers. I don't have them now.
Yeah, he's like, oh, sick.
That's when ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. Barry just, then Barry comes up to him. He's like, oh, they go to his apartment. They're like, oh, so this is like your lair? He goes, yeah, what did you expect? A fortress? And I immediately thought of, Fortress of Solitude. Probably not actually a reference to it, but it's a little connection I made because I'm so smart. But it's his apartment that he shares with Iris, and Iris is like, oh, hey, Barry, what the fuck? Like, now too? And then Wally was like talking about how he can't beat the Rival, and he was already open, just met Barry, all ears to any suggestions Barry has before Barry even shows that he has powers. Which I mean, he must have been really desperate then.
Right.
How can you expect him to know anything about the Rival? And then he showed a little suspicion at one point. I think gave a little curiosity of how he knew stuff about how to fight the Rival and stuff and Speed Force. But he quickly got over it. And then we mentioned in the last episode when Barry calls him Kid Flash and he's like, hey, don't call me that. It's
just
stern
Flash.
voice.
But
Yeah.
what I love is that Iris is like, nah, it's Kid Flash.
Yeah, even Iris goes along with it. Got to stick by her man, who's not her man in this timeline. Although at the end, she does acknowledge that they're in love, so some feelings from that timeline came over, and she realized that she does love Barry, even though she really just re-met him the day before in this new timeline.
Yeah.
But it shows that love traverses every timeline.
Well, let's not make it so sad.
No. But it's still fate.
Yeah. I think it's more than
whatever
that.
you want.
I think it's a little more scientific than that. Well, quote unquote scientific. It's because when Reverse Flash is talking to Barry, Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, and he's talking about, like, once you forget your memories, this will be the actual reality. So I think if Barry forgot everything and then met Iris, I don't think there'd be that connection.
You don't think so? You don't think that it still would have happened?
I don't think so, because I think there was some remnant from the reality that Barry originally came from. Mm-hmm. So when he met Iris, there was a connection from their previous standard timeline romance, and life and like tragedy and loss and like all that. So I think that Barry finally went up to her at the right time, or really like right before it was too late. Mm-hmm. And you could say like, and it's not wrong that it was always fate or whatever, that they do have a connection. But I think there is like there is like another explanation for it due to the changing of the timelines.
Yeah, but that timeline still does exist, though.
At the time,
he's just on a different one.
Well,
now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so he would have forgotten the other timeline, but Iris.
But I thought that timeline didn't exist because that was their timeline. It was changed.
I mean, it's like parallel universes, parallel timelines. Because like when Eobard Thawne.
But if it was a parallel timeline, they would have just had to go back to that timeline at that time. See, they had to go back in time to fix the standard timeline that they're in. So I think that's why it kind of. Otherwise, they would just like, if this is parallel universe, let's just go over to that universe and just forget this ever happened. No, they actually had to go back in time, let Barry's mom get killed by Eobard Thawne, have all that tragedy in his life, just so him and just so he can go back to normal.
I guess that could be it.
So I think if finally the fact that,
but Eobard Thawne explained it that Barry's him and Barry are the only two who have anything left from that timeline.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that necessarily would have taken away Iris, being.
She might just like skinny geeky dudes.
Could be, falls for that great pickup line he had, and it's like, I'm not trying to get you drunk, which was really funny. He's like asking around. He's like, you get a coffee? I know you have a coffee right now because we're sitting in a coffee shop, or we can get a beer or a wine. Not that I'm trying to get you drunk. Blah 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 blah.
He pulled like what I would do,
except he was way more successful.
Yeah. Usually they're like, like Iris goes, you're pretty cute, Barry. He's like, you just gotta stop talking so much. He's like, yeah. Usually it's like, hey, this is my boyfriend, and he's gonna kick your ass. I'm like, I'll see you later.
Yeah, if you even get that far.
Yeah, if I even get that far.
Yeah. So then, as Barry is starting to forget his memories, he goes to Thawne, and Thawne's explaining it, and Barry's like, well, why aren't you forgetting things? And Thawne realizes it, like he comes and accepts it. He goes, you using your speed is taking it away faster, and since his speed is being dampened to the point where like he can't. He's pretty much normalized, like depowered completely. It's taking it's going way slower to erase any memories. He hadn't lost any memories. Which also kind of brings in some weirdness because, technically the events of season 1 were a new timeline from the original timeline. Mm-hmm. So Eobard Thawne created a new timeline in season 1 of The Flash when he killed Barry's mother and took over Harrison Wells' life.
So you could argue that
he should have lost his memories, but he never lost any memories.
So I feel like the events of The Flash. But see, like then that just raises so many other questions, because you could argue that the timeline that starts in season 3, like the season premiere, should be the standard timeline if you really think about it. But then at the same time, there's always been a Reverse Flash going around time, so who knows what the real timeline is?
Exactly.
There could be other speedsters that have lost their memory in Barry's standard timeline.
Yeah, and it's weird because like if this new timeline that Barry created is starting to erase his memories. Why did Eobard Thawne, posing as Harrison Wells when he was trapped in that era in season 1, not lose his memories of that new timeline? Because his goal was to go back. He was changing time by going back to kill a young Barry. You know, up to that point, Barry lived and his parents lived a full life. And then Reverse Flash created a new timeline by going back and killing his mother and then speeding up the events that led to Barry becoming the Flash. I think it was like 10 years earlier than he was supposed to or something like that. But he didn't lose any memories. You know?
But also, too, let's also remember the line where he says, where he starts laughing, he comes to a realization. He says, using your speed only speeds up I'm butchering this line, but he's pretty much what he says, like paraphrasing, the more you run and use your speed, the faster you forget. That's when he starts laughing. So remember, Tom Cavanaugh in season 1 never runs, like never.
He actually, but by the mid-season finale of season 1, where he actually does fight Barry using his speed, still no effect. Later on, he starts using the speed a little more here and there, and then especially towards the end of the season, where he's running around fighting Barry, capturing Eddie, doing all these things.
Also, there's like 20 years between that as well, when he first kills Barry's mom.
Yeah, even then, over 20 years, he should have. So it's like, it's a contradiction, but, you know, it's just comic book logic.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
But I'm sure there's something that they could explain. You know?
Yeah, there's probably something.
But then I think
it could be because he's from the future and like he's got it figured out or something.
But also too, you could always argue that this was always part of the timeline.
Yeah,
that like the part of the timeline was Eobard going back in time, and then that also disproves saying, hey, like Barry's parents being alive is not what's supposed to happen in the grand plan.
Or it could be because he technically took Harrison Wells' life. Like became Harrison Wells, you know, he absorbed, almost like switched places with Harrison Wells, because you see he took his appearance and gave Harrison Wells his appearance and let him die. Like when he did that thing, they technically switched bodies in a way, so maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. It's just something, you know, to like a interesting contradiction between season 3 and season 1 so far. But not that it's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
It serves the plot.
Yeah,
how it needs to, and it's not taking it, you know, away from anything. I just thought of it.
Any type of show that like delves into time travel, there's always going to be contradictions.
Yeah, time travel is a very difficult thing to be consistent with.
Yeah, we're also watching a TV series about a guy who can run so fast he goes back in time. When scientifically, in theory, that you can't go back in time whatsoever. So yet. Yeah. Supposedly, like you can't. Supposedly, you can go into the future. I don't know, but
Anyway, getting back to the episode. So then Barry goes with Wally and Iris to Ramon Industries, talk to Cisco. Cisco makes fun of Barry. Barry tries to become friends with him, reveals something that nobody should know about Cisco in that timeline, because he didn't have friends to like tell him, or he seemed to have not shared that with anybody. Nope. Because he was so surprised that Barry knew that. Which, you know, it's because him and Barry are friends in the other timeline. Then while they're trying to figure it out, you know, they're still not sure what to do about Barry. Later on, then when Barry realized, after Thawne explains to him, like, you using your speed is causing these memories to erase, and pretty soon you'll forget to use your powers because you'll forget to ever being the Flash. So he uses his powers, you know, grabs the whole team, and then they're like, oh, shit, like, all right, this guy actually is a speedster. They reveal it to him. Then he captures Caitlin. And I thought it was so funny when she's like, after Barry, like, walks out or something, she goes, am I kidnapped? Like, she wasn't
so
even
cool
sure
about it.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, okay, whatever.
Have your way with me.
Yeah. And I like how when they were done with what they were doing, that she's like, can I go now? And she walked away. Like, Barry didn't even have the courtesy to, you know, speed her back to Mercury Labs. Or, no, she wasn't even working at Mercury Labs. She's a doctor, children's eye doctor. So she wasn't even a scientist in this.
No.
in this timeline. All right, well, he didn't even have the courtesy to bring her back to wherever she was. You know, you kidnap her and you can't even bring her home. It's fucked up, Barry. Very fucked up.
So fucked up.
Yeah, so, and then in action, they discover where the rival is, and for the first time on screen, we see Flash and Kid Flash team up.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was a beautiful moment.
It was. Since they gave us that bullshit teasing in like season 2 where it's like there's gonna be 2 speedsters, like,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, I lost my speed. Like, wow, thanks, dick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was very cool to see, definitely, and they battle against the rival. And you know what? I wasn't expecting them to reveal who he actually, like, to have him reveal himself so quickly.
Yeah, dude, what is up with these superheroes just being like, I'm this guy, or supervillains?
So, he did seem pretty crazy, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And he was so determined that he was going to kill him that, like, he could have told them and just, like, killed him, and then still nobody would know. I'm glad that they did keep his name Edward Claris, which is the actual rival in the comics. Granted, his suit is very different.
Well, okay. Are we kind of at the end right now of the episode? Are we getting to the reveal of what we were talking about with?
We're very, very close.
Okay. Say what you got to say.
Very, very close. You know, even though his costume is very different, but I'm glad they kept it as Edward Claris. And then they have a battle. He stabs Wally through the fucking rib cage with a metal pipe. Wally's down for the count. Barry starts fighting him at one point. Barry's memories of being the Flash start erasing, so he stops and can't compose himself to use his powers. And then Iris is like, Barry, I don't know what I would say to you on the other timeline when we're in love, but I believe in you, baby. It's pretty much what she said, just like that.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I want to have sex with you, so you better survive.
Yeah, so you better survive.
That's all I heard.
Powers. That's what you wish you heard.
Yeah,
her talking to you. And he does. Takes down the tornadoes that the rival started, which actually him kicking up those tornadoes led to Cisco going, he's like some sort of weather wizard.
Yeah, that was a little corny.
That was corny, but it was funny because Cisco coined, you know, the name of the villain with 2 different weather wizards that were in season 1.
Yep.
Like, I was waiting for him to do pull down his glasses and give like a wink at the camera.
Yeah, like one of those. Oh my god,
Like one of those.
like the Michael Jackson Thriller one where he like
Yeah.
turns around and it's like he's got the eyes, like
Yeah.
one of those moments.
Yeah. Barry kicks Claris's ass, and then they fight again. Barry gets knocked down. Claris is about to kill Barry, and Connor, go right now, because this was awesome.
Joe West. Okay,
Well, no, just explain before you even say that.
what happens in
What
Flashpoint?
happened?
Okay, so recap in Flashpoint. Okay, what happens in the Flashpoint comics in the movie? There's the giant nuclear weapon where Captain Atom is the source that Aquaman is using to destroy the planet. And I know that sounds weird if you don't know what Flashpoint is. Recap in our previous podcast.
Skip ahead to that moment,
Okay,
though.
so while that's going on, Wally West is broken, beaten down to a very, very dangerous degree, and Reverse Flash is taunting him, and then he's about to kill him.
Rival.
What's up?
You're saying Wally West in Flashpoint. You mean Barry?
I mean, oh yeah, in the comics. I'm sorry, Barry Allen in the comics is sitting there beaten down, broken to a very dangerous degree, and Reverse Flash is there taunting him, and he's about to kill him. Right behind Reverse Flash is Thomas Wayne as Batman, who is Batman's father, because this is a different timeline, or a reset timeline, shoots Reverse Flash in the head or chest, I forget, but he shoots him and he kills him, and because Batman uses guns at that point, and but it's really cool. So in the show, the rival is right behind Barry after the rival has been defeated by Barry, reversing the tornadoes, negating them, and then punching them. He's like, "You are the fastest guy."
Him jumping out of that, like taking down those tornadoes, and then him jumping out for that like mega punch was pretty sick.
That was like super like. It was pretty cool. I was gonna say donkey punch, but I stopped myself.
Different terms completely.
Yeah, I totally just I should have just said it. But anyway, in the season 3 premiere, what they did was it was Joe West who is the one who shoots Rival in the back while he's about to kill the Flash. And it was such a cool nod. It really was.
A very cool nod.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm so glad they used Joe. Joe's the fucking man.
Yeah.
Even shitty Joe in this premiere, you know, it's Joe.
That's
Joe's
what I was about to say.
man.
Yeah, like even though he was crappy, shitty, dumpy, diarrhea personality, he kind of redeemed himself at that point.
He did. And you know what? I'm so glad they did that moment. You know, even though they used the Rival, but you know they had to use it because Reverse Flash was locked up. So how were they going to do it otherwise? But I did like the way they did it. I liked the way they put the Rival to use, and that moment with Joe I think was fantastic because I love Joe. Joe's one of my favorite characters on the show. Joe's the man.
Standard timeline Joe.
Standard timeline Joe, not this.
That should be like a line dance song. Standard timeline Joe.
Oh, very funny.
Thanks.
I wonder where you got that inspiration from.
What would you rate that joke?
Honestly, I'd give it like a 5.5.
Yeah, it's all right.
You know, I'll give you a soft 6. How about that?
That's usually what the ladies tell me. You're about like a soft 6.
Yeah, I feel like take a couple inches off that, and that's what they
I can't help I'm Irish.
Yeah, I thought that was a great moment. We were both like, as soon as that happened, we're like, "Fuck, that was fucking sick!" Like both of us. It was great. And then Barry immediately whips off his cowl, and Joe's just like, "Barry," he goes, "Alan, what the fuck? Like you're a Flash?" And then Barry goes, "Oh, Joe, Wally needs your help." And Joe's like, "Wally's the other Flash? What the fuck is this?" He's like getting all these reveals at one moment, and then Wally's pretty much on the edge of death. They get him back to Ramon Industries to take care of him. Joe, I guess, can't handle it and leaves. We don't know why Joe is the way he is, like an alcoholic douchebag, you know, living on his own or whatever. Maybe it has something to do with like what happened to Wally, like, you know, when he was struck by lightning in that coma for 9 months, or, you know, maybe his wife left him again in this timeline or died earlier in this timeline or whatever, something like that. Affected
it could be a strained relationship with his children.
Strained relationship with his children, or any of those things. They don't go into it, and you know, it's fine. It's whatever. You don't need to get the reasoning behind it to know that he's a douchebag. Like he could just be born a douchebag in this timeline.
Yeah, he could just be a dick.
Yeah,
a major dick.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, he can't handle it. He leaves. Barry goes, you know, all this is happening because I'm selfish. Because Wally, his Speed Force wasn't regenerating. Like he has rapid healing. Like the speedsters have rapid healing. So like that wound should have healed up with Wally like during that fight.
Yeah,
almost, or shortly.
He
after.
would have been out of commission for like 2 days max. Maybe a day.
Probably not even. Yeah, I would go a day, the latest.
With you know, like just guesstimating, like with the accelerated healing factor that Wally West shares with Barry as being a speedster, sharing that power and likeness. Yeah, it was strange that he wasn't even talking. He's like, right. Hey, like, oh,
in all likelihood,
like
he probably got stabbed through some organs, so maybe, you know, that would take a little longer. But he wasn't showing any signs of healing at all. In fact, he was only getting worse.
I think the real reason why Rival stabbed Kid Flash was because it was so clear that the Rival stood for the FCC and Wally West stood for network television being held back because he said ass like 3 times.
He did say ass,
but it wasn't like, I'm going to kick your ass. It's going to be, I'm going to kick your ass,
bitch.
Rival. Like it was so obvious, and I was just like, I have to.
They just wanted to see how many times.
Allegorical statement in my head because I'm like, that was so corny that I have to kind of like mentally change like how the writers felt. I guess it's not bad at all by any means. I'm just like, it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like it was so like, okay, we can say this word, let's put it in there, you know.
It's like they were trying to stretch the limit.
Yeah, like I don't know. If I had like if there was like 3 speedsters in front of me, like, and I had a gun, and like that was like useless, like, and when you have a gun, like you feel like pretty much you're pretty much in power at that point. It depending on the situation.
Somebody's got a bigger gun.
Unless someone's got a bigger gun, but then like, you know, when it's 3 people without guns, but then their natural abilities are just, you know,
way worse than a gun.
Way worse than a gun. you know the thing that would come out of my mouth would be holy fucking shit. I should not be here instead of oh cow.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this is a different topic for a different day.
Yeah. Yeah. So Barry's like, he realizes, he goes, these bad things have happened because I just wanted to be happy myself, and I was being selfish. And he's like, Iris, I need you to help me. So it's in that moment that Barry decides to fix the timeline, like to get back to the timeline that he destroyed, pretty much. And Iris is still like, well, I'd still be in love with you, or he's like, I'm sorry, whatever. And she goes, that's okay, because like you said, we're in love in the other timeline. And she's pretty much like saying love transcends timelines or whatever.
Which is really science.
Or is it?
Or is it?
Like in Interstellar, love, what did she say? What did Anne Hathaway say? Love traverses time and space or something like that.
That's
something
a good
like
movie.
That. Yeah. But yeah, like it was the same type of mumbo jumbo.
Pat, are you a regular Nicholas Sparks fan over here?
We all know love is bullshit, guys.
No, I'm just kidding. Love's not bullshit.
No. Pat.
Yeah, I'm practically married, so it's fine.
Pat Sparks.
Stop. You love Dear John. You wish.
I've never seen that movie, but I will admit
never
The
either.
Notebook's not a bad movie.
It's okay.
It's kind of all right.
It's okay. The only Nicholas Sparks movie that I've seen that I actually was like, oh, that's not that bad, was, I think it's a Nicholas Sparks movie. The Vow, the Channing Tatum and Rachel McAdams one.
That's not Nicholas Sparks.
Oh, just a cheesy rom-com.
Actually, it's weird. I kind of know the origins of that. It's weird.
Well, it's
yeah.
That's not relevant to what we're talking about.
No, I know.
Just saying.
I've never seen the movie or the book, but like some girl that I know was like a huge fan of the book and like bitched about it at me for like an hour. I was like, oh my god, this is how people perceive me. Like,
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so Barry, he goes back to his parents' house. He's like, he goes, I want to see you one last time. And they're like, what's up, Barry? Like, you're going to kill yourself or something? They were probably thinking. He's like, no, everything's good, whatever. So then he goes to Reverse Flash, and he's like, I need your help to fix the timeline. And Reverse Flash, he's like, how? He goes, you know how. I want you to say it. Say it, or I'm not doing it. He just wanted to hear Barry say, I want you to kill my mother.
Yeah, dude, it was like an argument between me and my brothers when we were kids. Like, you need to say it. Like, no.
Yeah. Say it or else I'm not doing it. So they do it. They do it, man.
Yeah.
That Flash, it speaks their love action.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. It's like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones times 500 miles an hour.
Yeah. I don't know, but I still think the Jess Jones, Luke Cage.
That was fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
The way they broke the bed. So, Barry's not able to run at super speed because his memories are still being replaced, so he's starting to forget how to use his powers. For real this time, not like the crappy excuses they used previously, like season 1 and 2. So it's up to Reverse Flash to bring them back in time to the night of Barry's murder, where Barry saves his mom. And it was actually pretty funny because right before they get there, Barry, in the season 2 finale, just saves his mom. He's like, oh, you're going to be okay. And then the current Reverse Flash, the one of that timeline erases, and then the one of the Flashpoint timeline goes, yeah, no, she's not, and punches Barry in the face and then stabs his mom right in the heart. I just thought that, obviously a terrible moment because, dude's mom is getting stabbed in the heart, but I thought it was just, funny how he's like, yeah, nah, not happening.
Nah.
So then Reverse Flash, that fixes the timeline. Reverse Flash brings him back to present day, 2016, and Barry's like, oh, thanks, I'm glad it's fixed. And Reverse Flash goes, yeah, or so you think. And Barry's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He goes, nah, nothing. So Reverse Flash knows that it's not the way it was.
No.
And so Barry goes in. Joe and Wally have been there, I guess it was right at that moment that he left because they were inside just drinking a beer, and
he does have a momentary faith in like positivity there for a second. Like he's kind of like, oh, Joe.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
Wally.
it pretty much like it was the moment that Barry left.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Like he got right back to that. Except, turns out, this still isn't the right timeline
No, it's not.
because Barry's like, "Oh, where's Iris?" And Joe gets real pissed.
Yeah.
Wally's like, "Yeah, you know they don't talk, dude."
Yeah, and he goes,
And
yeah,
he
like
realizes like he fucked up.
yeah, and like and that's
Again.
literally where it ends.
Yeah, and that's where it ends. And then the previews for next week's episode show, Barry trying to figure out how to fix this timeline again. And in this, like we're gonna see what happened between Joe and Iris, why they're not talking. Barry goes and sees her. She asks for an explanation. We see Cisco, what looked in either like an AA or Narcotics Anonymous type meeting, and when Barry's like trying to offer him help, he goes, "Oh, now you want to help." So it seems that like, or some sort of group counseling thing. So it seems like Barry, with whatever happened, left Cisco in the dust to suffer through whatever he did. So that this other timeline is Barry's still fucked up and is probably did a dick move.
Yeah.
So he's not even back in his original timeline. But I'm glad.
Barry is kind of a dick.
Selfish. Even though he saves people all the time.
He saves people all the time, but he's just like, I need to do this for myself.
Saves the entire multiverse of an infinite.
Actually, I take
number
that
of
back
Earths.
because there's nothing wrong with being a little selfish. You got to look out for yourself.
Yeah.
And every time he like looks out for himself, he always just like screws up everybody's life.
Yeah, exactly. You can't look out for yourself at all. You have to save everybody's life, but don't enjoy yours at all.
No, yeah.
Don't do something for you. Yeah, so I am glad that they, because now we're not in the Flashpoint timeline anymore. I am glad that they kept it just to one episode, technically, because Flashpoint timeline is now over. Now we're in another timeline, which is still affected, technically, I guess, if you want to consider it. It's still affected by Barry going back in time, spawning Flashpoint. It's kind of like a Flashpoint spin-off. So far, it seems like it might be.
Yeah.
So while they're still not in Flashpoint timeline, which is, instead of doing that for like, the first half of the season entirely, we're still in another timeline. So we're not completely out of the woods yet of fucked up timelines. So we're still going to be, but the producers and Barry, the actor who plays Barry, Grant Gustin, did say like he's going to be dealing with the after effects of Flashpoint for a while or for several episodes.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the entire season.
Right.
Yeah, because I don't know if I could take an entire season of. Is this the right timeline?
Well, no.
Is this the right timeline?
I mean, like there will be lingering effects, not necessarily like every episode or whatever's.
Yeah,
timelines.
no, I understand that.
At some point,
yeah.
it's going to get right back to the regular timeline, but there will still be like some lingering effects of in some way, shape, or form. And then at the end of the episode, the very last thing, we see Edward Claris, who was the rival that Joe shot, in bed, and he hears this voice, which is the voice of Tobin Bell. Jigsaw from the Saw movies he's most famous for. And he's calling him. He's like, "It's time," whatever. And then we hear this scratching, and it actually sounded like somebody sharpening a sword.
Yeah, it is. It kind of reminded me. Remember, like in Sister Act, when Whoopi Goldberg is like scratching her nails against the chalkboard. Kind of sounded like that. I hate that sound with all my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody does.
Yeah.
Anybody who does like that is needs to be mentally evaluated, I think.
Yeah.
And it's scratching alchemy into the mirror, and he said it's time to Edward Claris. And we know Dr. Alchemy is going to be a big villain this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually in the previews for next episode too. But Tobin Bell actually is not going to be the person in the costume. Like he's just doing the voice, much like how Tony Todd did for Zoom. Teddy Sears played Hunter Zolomon and Zoom. Tony Todd just did the voice. It's going to be the same thing. Don't know who's under the costume of Dr. Alchemy yet. Most popular theory is that it's Tom Felton's character. Tom Felton, who was Draco in that little-known series, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So that seems to be
he's been confirmed as an actor.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying,
Yeah.
but he's actually been confirmed as is a CSI. Like he works in Barry's department.
Yeah.
But like the most popular theory is that he will end up being Dr. Alchemy. And that's where it's cut off. So it looks like in this timeline, Rival's still alive, and he's gonna I guess he's gonna stick around in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Although at least in this one, looks like he had a wife, so maybe he won't be that bad. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, obviously there's still gonna be Evil Speedster, but the Evil Speedster is not the big bad of the season. There will be other speedsters. In fact, I'm pretty sure at some point we're gonna get Savitar. How do you say it? Savitar?
Salvatore?
No. He's the leader of like the Speed Force worshipping cult.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm gonna say Savitar.
I feel like I'm second guess myself. If I
Yeah, I'm gonna say Savitar because I want to, but he'll be in there. So there will be other
kind of like a Ra's al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul argument in your head.
Yeah, even though it's Ra's al Ghul.
It is Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. So there will be other speedsters throughout it, but not the main villain. We're gonna get some Gorilla Grodd later on. I think there's supposed to be a 2-part Gorilla Grodd episode though.
Is it going to be a Grill City Gorilla Grodd storyline?
I hope so.
I feel like that would
Don't know.
I feel like that would be more than 2 episodes. Actually, no. It's like each episode's like 40 minutes, so that's like that's an hour and.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, it's
it
an hour and
depends.
20 minutes.
But I think there's supposed to be a 2-part Gorilla Grodd. I'm sure that Gorilla City will have to, hopefully, maybe we'll even see Solivar too.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet. And we will see Earth 2 Harrison Wells and Jesse Quick again very soon. I think actually in the next 2 or 3 episodes sometime. Yeah. Kevin Smith's episode. Kevin Smith directed another episode this time, and it'll be, I believe it's in December, like the first week of December. Or no.
You know, what probably is confirmed. Like 8 breaks, like the last season.
I hope not. I hope it's just the one break. I don't even want the one break, but I'll take it.
Breaks are stupid.
But you got to give the actors a break. They film for 10 months out of the year, so you got to give them a little break.
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe they want to celebrate Christmas too, man. All right. You want them to work on Christmas?
Be such a pussy.
Just because you work in retail, you want them to work on Christmas too?
Dude, I wish I had nobody. Like, hey, you want to come on Thanksgiving at 3 p.m.? Oh, cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Struggle.
Yeah. First world problems.
YLYS.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's still actually a lot to come. Still, we'll be getting a new Rogue. I think episode 3 is titled Magenta, which is going to be a new Rogue, or not Rogue, but a new metahuman that has Magneto's powers. Pretty much, she can manipulate metal. It's actually played by that actress Joey King.
We just get Mirror Master.
He is going to be.
Yeah, I know. Soon, but not soon enough.
Yeah, they're not introducing Mirror World though, yet. Which I get. I mean, Mirror World is complicated.
Yeah, that's like that. That's good. I'm sure like they would want to give that the treatment like they were doing. I guess they were going to do for Gorilla Grodd this season, or if they do what I think they're going to do.
Yeah. The rumor is there's going to be a Rogues War, which would be sick.
So Heatwave and Captain Cold are coming back.
Well, I'm assuming so because Wentworth Miller has a contract to appear on all the shows in the CW Arrowverse. Like that's in his contract. He's going to appear on all of them. So even regardless of what happened in the end of Legends of Tomorrow last season, he's going to be back. I know he's going to be part of the Legion of Doom on Legends of Tomorrow. He's going to appear on The Flash again. Let's see what else is there. There's something else. Oh, and the 4-night crossover, they did announce who the villains were. I won't say it because it is a big spoiler for 4 episodes.
Yep.
But it's not what I was expecting. But it makes sense as to how it would bring Supergirl into it. A little bit. Yeah, so that was you got anything else about that episode?
No, it was a great episode.
It was a very good episode. Very good start to the season.
Yeah, I'm excited. There wasn't one thing where I was like, this sucks. Besides the rival's costume or his mask.
His mask, yeah.
But that's like the worst part of your episode, and like that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I could get over it.
Yeah, like dude,
easily.
like finally like people who like run, like we had to wait like what 12 episodes for like what you call Jay Garrick to get his powers back or whatever. It was like such bullshit.
Yeah. But yeah. Let us know what you guys thought of this episode on Facebook, in the comments, Twitter, whatever. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Download and rate us on iTunes, Google Play Store, Podbean. I forget we're on some other thing, but nobody knows it. We're
Your
just
grandma's
on
Bible.
What?
We're on that.
On what Bible?
Your grandma's Bible.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Just blow the dust off.
yeah. Okay. You threw me off now.
That's what I was trying to do.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Awesome Sunday Show. Invite all your friends to like it. Follow us on Twitter at Awesome Sun Show. You could also now add us on Snapchat, Awesome Sunday, because we weren't too many characters to put show.
Right, and now you understand my frustration.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
You know how Connor used to bitch about Twitter not letting us.
I did that like 20 episodes.
Yeah. And follow us on Instagram at Awesome Sunday Show because they're nice about letting us use it.
Yeah.
You also follow our personal Twitter. I'm at RickPatMick.
I'm at Less Than Connor.
Yeah, and enjoy.
Yeah, peace.